jealousy. It was when I entered the first grade that I encountered this young man with blonde hair named Ryan Corning. And I saw the way Ryan Corning would play sports like football and kickball. And I was amazed at his athletic prowess. This short young man was very agile and very clever with the way he would move around the field or the court and the way that he would execute on his opponents. I wanted to have athletic prowess like that. Ryan Corning was also popular with the ladies back in first grade. Yeah, a lot of the girls thought he was cute. I was jealous of the attention that Ryan Corning had. I was jealous of his athletic abilities. He was one of the most popular kids in our class. I wanted to be that. That jealousy would help to shape the type of person that I became over time. But jealousy doesn't always have a positive effect or a positive outcome. Sometimes it can lead people to commit crimes. It can lead them to do things that they regret. Jealousy often arises when we fear losing something we already possess. The word envy has the meaning of desiring something that we don't possess, something that someone else has. But jealousy is losing something that you already possess. Colloquially, we tend to use jealousy when we actually mean envy. So we'll say that, oh, I feel so jealous because they have something else. But really, when you're feeling that about what someone else has, that's technically envy. But for the sake of our talk today, I'll be using jealousy and envy interchangeably. But technically, jealousy really refers to when you have something and you're afraid to lose it. And this can really come up in relationships, such as a marriage or between you and your boyfriend or girlfriend. And then you see them talking to someone else. And then you start to feel feelings of not wanting to lose or fearing that you could lose what you have. Imagine, for instance, you're dating someone and then they say, let me introduce you to my best friend. And in comes to the picture someone who's the same gender as you, such as if you are a male and your girlfriend's best friend is also a male. Or vice versa, if you're a female and your boyfriend's best friend is also a female, that can stir up in you these feelings of jealousy. What do they have that I don't have? Why are you best friends with someone who's something about me, something similar to me? And so we can have that fear that we will lose what we have. If we're not careful, that jealousy could lead us to do something we regret. But that jealousy is not totally unfounded. It's not always bad to be jealous. Within the proper context, it's okay for us to have a level of possessiveness over what belongs to us and to not want it to be taken away or to have a healthy fear of losing what we have. In fact, many of us would feel unloved if our partner weren't a little bit jealous, weren't a little bit possessive, right? But the key here is to strike the right balance, because although we have a right to what belongs to us, we do not literally own people. We should not try to control others, including our spouse. And so we need to be able to balance our feelings so that our actions are balanced, because when our actions are not balanced, that's what leads us to do some of the things we might have regretted in the past that we'd want to forget, like stalking or showing up at places where we shouldn't have been showing up, and being places where we shouldn't have been, and calling more than we should have or texting more than we should have. This jealousy can be a fuel to do things that we regret. So what's a common scenario? You see a friend succeeding in their career. They're achieving the goals, the accolades, the promotions. What do you feel? Maybe a sense of envy. You desire the same achievements, the same recognition that they have. How do we deal with this? Jealousy, i.e., envy, can be a manifestation of bad energy. And that bad energy really develops and is cultivated by the negative thinking that we have. And so we need to learn how to alter our thinking and our perception so that we can never feel jealousy at all. It is possible to be jealousy proof, to never feel that sense of envy towards someone else or something else, or that fear of loss of what we already have, to a degree that it's beyond what's healthy or balanced, to a degree where we would actually regret our actions. Jealousy was something for me that I did not struggle with throughout my life. And so, for instance, one time in church, my girlfriend, who was my fiance probably by that point, was apparently talking to someone else. And then here comes my dramatic mother. She comes to me and says, "Oh, your fiance is talking to so-and-so over there." And she's like, "How do you feel about that?" It's like, I don't care. Why would I care that she's talking to someone else? And then my mother goes, "Oh, really? So why don't you care?" And I shrugged my shoulders. I'm not insecure. In my mind, there is nothing that I lack as a partner that I have to feel so insecure that someone else is going to bring, or there's nothing that someone else has that is so superior to what I have to offer that I have to feel jealous. And this is a mindset. In order to be impermeable to the feelings of jealousy and envy, we have to have a very strong, very positive concept of the self. We have to have high self-confidence. So we'll talk a little bit about how to develop this so that we can have that shield and not feel threatened at all. If someone who we like pops up with a friend or tends to be talking to someone else, we can actually feel secure. And doesn't that sound like the peace that you would like to experience? Well, let's examine why we might feel jealousy or why we might be struggling with envy. When we have fear of abandonment, that can be an underlying fear that we could lose someone. And so that will trigger that feeling of unhealthy, maladaptive jealousy, especially if we perceive a potential threat to our relationship. Our fear of abandonment is what's really underneath that sense of jealousy. So now if your mate is talking to someone or says that this is their best friend, you go, "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, I'm so afraid," because what you're fearing is abandonment. Also, if we are insecure, if we have insecurity, then we lack the confidence in ourselves and in our abilities. So then we compare ourselves to others, which leads to envy or jealousy. They can take what I have, or they have what I could never get, because we feel insecure. So if we're looking at focusing our mind on what we do not have or what we lack, then what we do not have and what we lack tends to grow, leading to more jealousy and insecurity. For many, it's low self-esteem. Your self-esteem is the feeling that you tend to have about yourself, either good or bad, depending on the circumstance or your accomplishments. So when you're feeling inadequate or you're feeling inferior, that intensifies the feeling of jealousy. It intensifies the feeling of envy, because again, you're comparing yourself to others and you struggle to embrace your own worth, your own value. Having unrealistic expectations for some sets them up to have jealousy and envy, because they don't celebrate then other people's success because their expectations of themselves are not being met. And when we have expectations that are not met, it leads to disappointments. So how can we overcome envy and jealousy and shift our mindset towards a more positive outlook? Well, it helps for us to cultivate a healthy self-awareness. A lot of times self-awareness is talked about in the terms of understanding how much you lack or what you don't have, but we need to be aware of how much we actually do have. And most of us are really not. Most of us don't see our true worth. We don't see our true value. We don't understand what our gifts are, what we can do, what we're capable of. And as a result, with that lack of self-awareness, we're going through the world worrying about everyone else, envious of everyone else, jealous of them, counting what they have, and comparing ourselves. And just imagine how sad that would make you. No wonder they say comparison is the thief of joy. With good self-awareness, we realize that we have what we need, that we have gifts that we can cultivate that are unique to us, that can even be developed to be superior to what other people have to offer. Good self-awareness helps us reflect not on our insecurities and our fears, but on our gifts and our abilities. Another thing that can help us is practicing gratitude. Right along with self-awareness is being aware of the things that you have and being grateful for those things. And so on a regular basis, we need to be doing gratitude meditation. And for some, they find that prayer is helpful to cultivating that gratitude, being thankful for what one has, focusing on what one has. When we focus on what we lack, then we have a deprivation mindset, a desperation mindset. But when we focus on what we have, we'll appreciate our achievements, we'll appreciate our blessings. And here's the secret. Gratitude is what leads to happiness, because happiness is not your end goal in life. Happiness is a byproduct of gratitude. And so we say, I'll be so happy when I get that new car or when I get that job. But you are actually speaking that into determination. You are actually saying you will be happy then. You can change that because you're setting the rules. You're writing that. You can say, I will be happy now. I am happy with what I have. But the gratitude, the focusing on what you have, the appreciation for what you have, gives you the sensation, the feelings of happiness. Learning to celebrate other successes. This can be done by altering our perception from, oh man, they have that and I don't, to, oh wow, that's something that I could have as well. Then we can celebrate their success because they are setting a bar for us that is aspirational. And so we contemplate how we can realistically attain some goal, something similar to what we are seeing, because it inspires us. The very things that make you jealous are the same things that have the potential to inspire you, to move you. But we have to switch the perspective. We have to switch our mindset around it. If we focus on personal growth, then that will make it easier. So focusing on personal growth is directing our energy toward our personal development and improvements instead of comparing ourselves to others. That's not personal growth, right? That's comparative growth. That's not what we're supposed to focus on. We're supposed to focus on personal growth. So that's focusing on what we can do to develop. And when you're in here, which is being in your own business, in your own bag, then you're not looking into someone else's, counting what they have. Finally, we're going to need some healthy coping mechanisms. So when jealousy and envy arise, what should we do to cope? Call our best friend and tell them how jealous we are? get angry and try to take revenge? Should we try to steal what they have? No. We should engage in activities that promote self-care, self-compassion, practice mindfulness, do our gratitude meditation, get into our hobbies, our interests, build our gifts. And if we happen to have friends or family, then seek connections with the friends and family that we have. I hear this a lot. I've never had anyone that loved me except for my children. Deprivation mindset. Some people don't have children. Why do you say except for what I do have? Don't do that. Say, I have someone in this world that loves me and that I love back. My children. Don't say, oh, I've never had any. There's no one except for my children, but they don't count. Don't do that. What you have is the only thing that counts. The things we want, the things we aspire for, need to be just that, an aspiration. But in balanced measure, we want to say, I am happy. I am already happy. I already have everything I need. I'm already getting what I want. And I will feel even more joy. That's abundance mindset. I will feel even more joy when I achieve this goal, when I attain this prize. Does that make sense? All of this comes back to our perception. All jealousy boils down to is negativity mindset. It's not deeper than that. When we have toxic jealousy, toxic envy, it's just negativity mindset, focusing on the lack, what you do not have, believing you can't ever have it. Negative thinking. Seeing someone else as having it as being a bad thing for you when it has nothing to do with you. It all just comes down to negative thinking. When we switch the perspective, we instead ask ourselves, what's good about them having that? What's good about them having that? Okay, so if someone gets a job or they get a house or a car, something that you want, a good mate, what's good about them having that? Ask yourself that question. That switches your perspective. What is good about it? We're out of negativity. Now we're into positivity. And what do you come up with? Oh, well, that gives me something to look forward to. That shows that it's possible. Now it becomes aspirational. What's aspirational becomes inspirational. It moves us. The same thing that made us jealous can make us feel motivated, inspired. But we got to switch the mindset. How do we do that? Ask the right questions. What's good about the fact they've achieved that? And that will help us to curb the envy for what other people have. When it comes to the actual jealousy in terms of losing what we already have, same question. What's good? What is good about the fact that my spouse is talking to someone else who looks eerily similar to me or nothing like me or whatever it is that's triggering your sense of jealousy? What's good about it? What's good about the fact that your spouse can get up and leave anytime they want? What's good about it? Don't you want your spouse to be free? Or would you prefer that your spouse is just trapped in a relationship with you? Wouldn't you want them to be there because they want to, not because they have no other options? Let me give that to you again. Don't you want your mate to be there because they want to be there, not because they don't have any other options? Yeah. So then why be jealous of the other options? The other options are what makes it good that they're here. You don't want a mate that had no options. That wouldn't make you feel good. How would that make you feel special or chosen? Well, I'm with you because I just didn't have any other options, hon. Pass the mashed potatoes. That's not what you want. You want someone who turned down all of the other options to be with you. We get there by asking ourselves that question. What's good about the fact that they could leave? Instead of being in our abandonment mindset, we flipped it and we're looking at it from a positivity standpoint. What's good about the fact that there are other options out there? What's good? And then we realize we need to release what we cannot control. And if you want to live in peace, then you do not try to control what you cannot control. We don't focus on what we do not have. It's okay to have a goal that is attainable and to reach for it, but we don't put our focus on what we do not or cannot have. The focus is on what we do have, and then our abundance will grow. You water the seed. You don't throw water just out onto random dirt in a field and hope something, oh, nothing ever grows. I throw my water everywhere and nothing ever, because you're not focusing on the seed that you do have. If all you have is a seed, that one seed, if you focus on it and you cultivate it and you put it into the soil and you feed it and you water it and you sing to it and you shade it and you give it the sunlight, you really care for the needs of the seed, what will happen? It will grow into a tree, which will bear fruit, which will produce more seeds. And those seeds, when planted, will produce more trees, which bear more fruit. You have an orchard in your one little seed. So do not say, I don't have anything except the seed, because that's showing your focus is on your lack. And if you focus on the infinite void of what you do not have, then that's what will grow, and your seed will dry out and die. But when you focus on this one little thing that you have, this one little seed, it will produce an entire orchard. So, but what if we have fear of abandonment? Should we allow that to stop us? Here's the thing with fear. Fear is to protect, not to prevent. So remember that a fear of abandonment is to inform you that it's possible, that it's potential, but you don't want to live in your childhood wounds, because then you're seeing things through a childhood lens. Adults recognize that abandonment is a part of life. Most all of our relationships are temporary. So we embrace the fact that there is abandonment. In fact, abandonment is good. What's good about it? Well, then if people abandon us, we'll lose the narcissists. We'll lose the people we don't have anything in common with. If we learn to abandon others respectfully, then we will lose the narcissists and we will lose the people that we don't have anything in common with. With the unhealed fear of abandonment mindset, what happens is we're trying to keep desperately everyone in our life, and all we're doing is retaining the abusers, keeping out space for healthy people. Now, no healthy person can be near you because you're in abusive relationships. Let go of the fear of abandonment. Embrace abandonment. It's a part of life. What if we feel insecure? We have insecurities. Gives us a lack of self-confidence. Your insecurity is a hyper-focus on one specific thing, one feature. If I'm insecure about my hair, it's because I just keep focusing on my hair. But how many other features do I have besides my hair? So you see, your insecurity comes down to you focusing on one specific thing. When you stop focusing on that one thing, especially in a negative way, and you ask yourself, what's good about it? What's good about the fact that I have a little extra fluff? What's good about the fact that I have a weird hairline? What's good about the fact that my nose is big? What's good about it? Then we can get out of insecurity. Also, what's good about what I do have? So if I don't like my nose, but what's good on my face? What do I like? Oh, I have nice eyes. Oh, pay attention to that. Because just having something that you can hold on to is your basis for producing confidence. If you tell yourself, I have amazing eyes, I have beautiful eyes, I could have the worst nose, but I have beautiful eyes. My eyes are so beautiful. My eyes are so, you just keep telling yourself that over and over. You speak it into your mind. You know what will happen? You'll start to feel a sense of confidence. You'll be looking at people, you'll be smiling with your eyes, and other people will sense that. They'll be like, oh, she's got something about her. It's the way she smiles with her eyes. Because you're not focusing on the insecurity, it makes it difficult for other people to. So what if we have low self-esteem or low self-worth? We need to heal that by attaching our esteem not to our accomplishments or our actions. It's not tied to our mistakes. It's not tied to what we have or our circumstances. Tie your self-esteem to your actual worth, which is the worth that you were born with. Picture yourself in that nursery when you were a baby. On a scale of 0 to 4, with 4 being the highest worth a human could have, when that baby came out, ugly as you were, what was your worth? What was your worth when you were first born? Scale of 0 to 4. It was a 4. You were born of the highest value. And did you lose it when you started to learn to walk? No. Did you lose it when you started to learn to talk? No. Did you lose it when you told your first lie in the first grade? No. Did you lose it when you started to go through puberty? No. Did you lose it in adolescence when you started to break rules? No. You never lost your worth. So stop it. Stop telling a false story that your worth is dependent on something. You were born with your worth. You were born with your value. Only when we see ourselves as we really are, worth a 4 out of 4, does it make it easy for us to let go of jealousy, and these situations can just slide right off of us. Let's keep our expectations realistic. Let's keep our expectations for ourselves, for our lives, realistic. Let's focus on what is within reach. What has the combination of both giving us joy, exciting us, but it's within reach. And let's not hinge all of our hope and all of our happiness on obtaining that. But let's instead hinge our happiness on the gratitude for what we already have, so that we can attain something more that adds to our happiness. Our abundance will grow. If we focus on what we have, even if it's a seed, we could produce an entire orchard. So I know that having the proper mindset toward these things helps. Obviously, in the situation where my fiance was talking to this person, this other guy, I felt not even a twinge of jealousy, because the mindset is focused on what I have. I'm focused on what I have. I'm not focused on that. There's no fear of abandonment, because I want my spouse to be with whoever it is that they want to be with. So if they don't want to be with me, it's a good thing we find out now before we get married. You see how it's the mindset that decides whether or not I feel the jealousy, not the circumstance. Eventually, for me, although I had been shaped by my admiration for Ryan and his attributes and his abilities, and I aspired to be that, you can see that I converted that sense of jealousy into something that would move me to become a better version of myself. And so I learned how to be more charismatic, and I learned how to be more athletic, and I joined sports. And I even remember the time that I signed up for soccer, and it was because I knew Ryan Corning was playing soccer, and my team one time actually faced up against Ryan Corning's team, and we got slaughtered, just absolutely massacred. And he pulled a move on me that was better than anything I'd ever seen. But over the years, it was blazed in my head, the moves that I saw him do, and I started to imitate those moves. I started to develop skills in the sport. Eventually, my lack of jealousy paid off, because I grew to be taller than Ryan and more popular, in my opinion. But it's by focusing on what we have that we're able to protect ourselves from going the wrong direction, from allowing the jealousy to become toxic. Just a note, some people experience something called retroactive jealousy. Retroactive jealousy is a term that's created to refer to being jealous about something in your partner's past. So you're worried about who their past partners were, what their past relationship was like, and probably you are comparing yourself to what their past experiences were. That is just another form of the deprivation mindset, because look at what you're not focusing on. You're not focusing on now. You're not focusing on what you do have, which you have them and you have them now. So you have to ask yourself, would I rather just not have this individual? Sometimes retroactive jealousy can be felt because it's triggered by something a partner did. Maybe they were unfaithful. But ultimately, we have to look at ourselves and recognize who we are, what we have, and put all of our focus on those things, those gifts, those talents, those abilities. Wherever your focus is, that's where your energy is. Where the energy is what will grow. Recognize your power. No need to be jealous of anything or anyone.